Okay, so hello. Currently, I'm like kind of dying because I'm on my period and I hurt. I don't know how I never see my period coming. Occasionally, I will see it coming and I'll be like, wouldn't it be funny if today was the day? I didn't have that today. Today, I was spiraling. Like, I was losing it. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, hi, here we are. What I want to talk about is, this is kind of niche, but maybe it's relatable in other like aspects of life. But it's in regards to my dance journey. I've been really only dancing for about close to 2 years now. And specifically for West Coast Swing, which is my favorite and really the only style of dance that I really am invested in at this point, is a little over a year, maybe a year and a couple of months. I started last August. And if you're not familiar with West Coast Swing, it's a wonderful style of partner dancing that is really based off of connection, and it allows you to have a lot of creativity. It's not like, oh, we're gonna do it this way and there's one way to do it. There's so much creativity and expression that you can have in this dance, and that's what makes it so beautiful and fun. The thing is, though, is that it's a very difficult dance to master because you have to really understand how connection works, how to understand what your partner is leading, what's going on in your body. It's kind of like learning a language, is how I've heard some people describe it. A lot of people that really are passionate about this dance like to compete. And in West Coast, you have kind of a ranking system that you move through as you compete, as you get points. I started out competing a few months ago. I think it was July was when I did my first competition. And I actually pointed. I placed third in newcomer, which means that I now have to compete in novice. I competed in novice for the first time a little over a month ago at Jack's Westy Fest. Didn't make it out of prelims, and then I competed again last week, and again didn't make it out of prelims. And the thing that I want to talk about that is so funny to me is that a lot of people have come up to me and like given me a speech about don't feel sad when you don't immediately win in novice. Don't feel sad about that. It's a journey. Everyone goes through it. Don't feel bad about yourself. It doesn't determine your worth. Blah, blah. And it's like everyone gives me like this doomsday speech and tells me not to like basically crash out when I don't win. And like what's really funny to me about this speech is that, one, I don't feel that way. And I think there's a very specific reason why I don't feel that way. And that's what I want to talk about is kind of a mindset of when you are doing something like this, that you have to put yourself out there. You have to do something that can feel a little bit vulnerable or scary. I don't have a mindset of this determines my mood or my worth. And the reason for it is because, one, I spent 5 years in school studying vocal performance, and I also spent the majority of that time auditioning for shows. I did musicals, I did plays, so I really had to put myself out there in a very vulnerable way. For voice, 3 times a semester, we would have to get up in front of our faculty and our peers, and we would have to sing. We would be graded on our performances. In grad school, not only would we be graded, but we would actually get comments from our peers in the class about what went well and what went wrong while you were standing on stage. So yeah, that is vulnerable. If you had a bad performance, you stand there and you kind of are like, yeah, okay. you learn how to take criticism. You learn how to take it, because if you don't, you're in the wrong major. But specifically what I think actually helped me the most was my journey in theater. I had actually not done a lot of theater or anything like that before I got really involved with it on campus. And it was hard. It was really hard. And I was saying this on my Snap story recently. I was like, you can't hurt me. Like, when I first started in theater, for the first 2-3 years, I was known as the understudy girl because I kept getting understudy for lead roles in major productions. The first one was fine. I was happy to be an understudy. But the second semester, oh my gosh, I could not talk about it without crying for like a few months, genuinely. Because I was understudy to the same person for 2 shows in a row, which was basically about a full year. I was understudy to the same person, and I loved this person. But it was hard to be second best to this person for like a year. Furthermore, in the whole audition process for the second show, everyone told me, you're gonna get that role. We are rooting for you. We want you to get that role. Everyone hyped me up, and I unfortunately believed them. And I wanted that role so bad. It was a dream role for me, so I could not talk about it without crying. Like, it felt like a bad dream. So that took me a while to get over. And then I did get a lead role in the next show, and then the show after that was another really hard one for me. I actually have my script right here. It was Midsummer Night's Dream. I got understudy to Titania, the Elf Queen, and oh my gosh, that was such a hard role for me. Because I knew, since it was a Shakespeare play, I had to really invest and learn that role just in case I got called up on a performance night. Because with Shakespeare, you know or you don't, you can't wing that. So I threw myself into that role and I learned it. I knew that role so well, to the point that my director was actually telling my primary to come to me for interp advice, which I was like, that's funny. That's funny. I had one of the lead actresses was like, Lauren, I am about to go to the director and tell her that you deserve a night. Like, you have worked just as hard for this role. And I was like, yeah, I love this role. I didn't get to play a night, but I was very proud of it. And later my director told me, a while later, she was like, Lauren, you are a star in my eyes. Like, I'm very grateful you were in the show. Like, genuinely, you are a very talented actress. And I was like, well, thank you so much. After that, we did Sound of Music. That was the next big show I was a part of. And I had people telling me to my face everything on the spectrum from, we don't think you are going to get a lead role, period, or we don't think you're going to get a main lead, to, we want you to get Maria. Like, it was a huge spectrum of what people thought it was going to be. I ended up getting the Baroness, and I loved that role. It was fantastic. I had so much fun with that role. But all that goes to say, that was kind of my journey in theater. I went from somebody that genuinely everyone was like, you're not getting lead roles, you're gonna get understudy. And I had people in a roundabout way telling me that to my face, and it hurt because I was like, nobody believes in me. Like, I have to keep going, like, on my own. I have to keep believing that I can work hard and get these roles. And then eventually I did work really hard and I did get those lead roles. So how this applies for me in competing in West Coast is, I understand specifically the division that I'm in. Everyone in talking about this division recently has been saying, this is like the coaches I've taken from, people that I know who have already gone through this division, people currently competing in it. They're all saying that because newcomer is more of a thing, novice has actually gotten harder to get out of. You have a lot more talented dancers in novice, so it is a lot harder to compete and get out of it. And I've had a lot of people say it can take a while, but here is my philosophy about it. My favorite thing or piece of advice that I took, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna listen to this, is I was listening to a judge talk about competing. And they said, who are the people who are going to win in novice? It's going to be the people who deserve to be an intermediate. They are already dancing like an intermediate dancer. Those are the people who are winning. And I heard that and I went, okay. So if I want to get out of novice, that is the end goal. I just started competing like a few months ago. So I understand it takes a while to get out of this division, but the end goal is to make it out of this division. If I want to do that, what do I need to do? I need to learn what skills, what techniques do I need to have in my dancing in order to dance like an intermediate dancer. So those are the main things I need to work on. I don't need to be flashy. I don't need to be crazy. I need to figure out what main techniques does an intermediate dancer have, and then learn those. And when I have those and I'm dancing like an intermediate dancer, eventually it will happen that I will point out of novice. As far as not having any points in novice yet, I'm not mad about that. Again, I've only been competing for a few months. I have competed 3 times, 2 times total in novice. I'm not mad about it. I understand it's a process, and I also understand that the second time I competed, I was in a huge competition. It was enormous. So why would I feel bad about myself when some of these people have been competing for years? They're the people who have really worked hard, and they're the people who are going to be making finals and getting those points and moving out of novice. Like, that's not me. I haven't worked that long yet. So the way I see it is, again, kind of like theater. The people who are getting selected to move up are the people who have worked for it, and they deserve it. That's kind of how I see it. I think one of the biggest things that is important is mindset. And I think that's why everyone is giving me advice, like, don't feel bad about yourself because you're not making points or anything like that. I'm not. Like, my mindset is I'm putting myself out there, and you can't do anything unless you're putting yourself out there. If you're not putting yourself out there, there's nothing to work with. If I don't compete, I don't see where my weaknesses are, and I don't see what I need to work on next, you know? I can't grow unless I'm putting myself out there and having these experiences. So yeah, I view it as a long-term learning curve. And eventually I'm going to make it out of there because I work very hard and I invest a lot in this. But in the meantime, I get to enjoy the process of seeing my progress. And that to me is the real win, is when I can compare my Jax competition videos and I can compare my Atlanta competition videos, and I can say 2 different things. I did so much better in Atlanta than I did at Jax. So that to me is a win. That's all the win I need, but I also can see what I need to work on next. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I think that I have a little bit of an advantage mentally, understanding what it's like to learn a new art form from the ground up. Like, I don't have any previous dance experience. All I had before was a little bit of line dancing. So it's kind of like, yeah, I understand, like, from doing theater and learning voice, you really have to put so much effort. And it's not even like a matter of, oh, well, I've been working so hard for a couple of months. No, it takes years. It took me years to get a lead role. So yeah, when I did Sound of Music, I genuinely kept thinking to myself, I spent 5 years preparing to get this role because I needed that voice training and I needed that theater training in order to land a giant role like that. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm viewing West Coast dancing as well. It's something that I do because I love it. I love social dancing. I do it every chance I get. But when it comes to competition, I understand this is a new thing for me. and I understand that it is going to take time, but when you put in that time and that effort, eventually you don't lose forever. You lose, and then you win. So I like that I have this mindset that it's okay. It's fun, it's fine, it's a positive experience that I get to have. And yeah, it's, it's up from here. So anyway, that is my rant. If you don't do West Coast, then maybe this applies to something else in your life that you can look at and be like, you know what, right now I'm not winning, but eventually I will. So yeah, that's my rant. I like talking about my dance journey and posting dance stuff every now and then, just because I feel like documenting where I'm at is going to be really important down the road when I'm having those wins, so I can look back and be like, yeah, like look at that. I had a good attitude all along, and I'm not gonna look back and be like, man, like I was so entitled about this. So anyway, yeah, it's a journey. Thanks for listening, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye bye.